Now, usually when I go and I speak, the first question is why? You know, why would a dentist who's been in practice decide at this point in his career to get into the political life, especially a congressional seat at that? Somebody who may be considered contrary in the state of Maryland, because I have a kind of conservative point of view and I have ideals about government. So the answer is I'm concerned about our economy. And it's not just the $9.2 trillion debt we have, but it's the mindset that creates that debt and doesn't seem to have an answer for it. David Walker, the former comptroller and treasurer for the United States, said that what we are doing is we are mortgaging the future of our children and grandchildren at record rates. And he went on to say that this is not only fiscally irresponsible, but it's immoral. And I agree. So the reason I'm running for Congress is for economic freedom for you and our children. And as I said, I'm not a politician, I'm a dentist. So all indicators would probably have me drilling, filling, and billing, but here I am giving a stump speech. So with that being said, I would like to mention that my little history. I started out in the science field. I worked for about 8 years, and I went and got my master's degree in microbiology. And then once I got my master's, I got into the dental school, University of Maryland Dental School down in downtown Baltimore. And I graduated in 1983 with the DDS. And I've been married for 33 years, 33 special years to my wife Jane. We have 4 children and 2 grandchildren, and I've been blessed. I've practiced 25 years now. Most of that time, 24 and a half years, I practiced on Frederick Avenue in the city in District 7. So the city part of District 7 does not bother me at all. I find myself quite at home down there. But in the 25 years I practiced, I've never lived off the federal dole. I don't have experience at that, but I do have experience in following the rules. I follow, good business rules that result in balanced budgets and good business decisions. But I'm not like Congress, where I've never had the ability to write a check without having money there. Or I never had the opportunity, like Congress, to borrow money and not have an idea how I was going to repay it. Nor do I shun responsibilities, I think, as Congress does, that are implied or stated in my license. So when I'm elected as a representative of the 7th District, I plan on going and I'm going to push for a balanced budget, because I don't believe we can continue to spend, spend, and spend. I'm also going to see what we can do about the earmark appropriations process. I mean, if we're going to spend this kind of money, we should have some transparency and know where the money's going. We shouldn't have to be digging all the time. I'm also going to revisit the basic mandate that Congress has a responsibility to coin money and regulate its value. This, I believe, has a lot to do with just the Federal Reserve. And then lastly, I will not vote for any new taxes. I think all of these are good for the economy, and they will produce economic freedom for all of us. Now, before this all happens, though, there are 2 key issues that I think our government has to come to grips with. The first is federalism. The notion that we can make any program we want a federal program. I mean, when our founding fathers set out the Constitution to set up this country, they did so with the federal government having limited powers, and any powers not specified in the Constitution belong to the states and the people. And we, the people and the states, will only have economic freedom if we limit the powers of the federal government. So, in that respect, if you stop and look at it, there are probably dozens of departments and agencies that lack constitutional mandate. A good example would be the Department of Education. I mean, they have their program, No Child Left Behind, but I'm worried about a constitutional republic that's been left behind. So, when I get to Congress, one of the first things I'm going to try to do is find a way of transitioning either a defederalization or an elimination of any program that does not have constitutional mandate. The other problem I think we have to deal with is our empire. I mean, we have troops in 130 countries. 700 bases, and that, along with the undeclared war in Iraq, we're spending, I believe the number is like $3 trillion a year. So I'm a supporter of a strong military, but with a non-interventionist foreign policy. I think if you read the Constitution, the Congress has the power to declare war, not the President and not the UN. So I would like to see no more undeclared wars in this country. Now, it's no wonder that Congress has a 14% approval rating. That means that 86% of us disapprove of what they've been doing. I think one reason is because they have this insistence on grandstanding on issues, kind of like Congressman Cummings did with the steroid use in baseball industry. This is all going on while we have problems, and they've taken a pledge to support and defend the Constitution of the United States. Now, I had the opportunity of being on a forum with Congressman Cummings and 2 other candidates during the primary. And he was very gracious, and he congratulated us for participating in the political process. Well, the political process left him unopposed last time. This time, I plan on opposing it, and I plan on bringing him out on a lot of issues, because we do differ. I'll give you a couple of examples. I don't believe the federal courts should force states to accept abortion. Congressman Cummings does. He sees no problem with this crossing of, or this overstepping of the court system. In fact, he's gone as far as to not reject a procedure that kills partially born children. We differ. I love liberties. It hurts me deep to see what the Fourth Amendment has been trashed by the Patriot Act. Gun grabbers, like Congressman Cummings, are always after our Second Amendment. And I believe this right to bear arms is essential, not only for our gun collectors and hunters, but for our own ability to protect ourselves against government tyranny or anarchy. So I think when you start talking about security versus liberties, Benjamin Franklin said it best. He said, a society that will give up liberty for security will deserve neither and lose both. And I think if we're not careful, we're headed directly in that situation. And I think another point is Congressman Cummings is soft on immigration. You know, a sovereign nation protects its citizens. And I think if you stop and look at it, if the federal government enforced the immigration laws, they would protect our jobs. We looked at the unemployment rate in District 7 at a couple of our meetings past, and it's 7.9 in District 7. And that's with Harris County pulling the number down. If we look at Baltimore City alone, I'm sure a lot of those jobs could be filled if we didn't have illegal immigrants just running anywhere they want. The second point, I think, is our assistance programs, which are designed for our citizens, could be protected if the federal government enforced the immigration laws. And lastly, I think our economic freedom in general would be protected if we enforce the immigration laws. So, you know, our ancestors had a dentist who ran through the streets and hollered, "The British are coming, the British are coming," you know? And the people at the time listened to him and they heard him, and they built this great nation to what it is. Well, this dentist has a different message, a different warning. Our economy is collapsing, and our economy is collapsing. And I think we should heed the warning and attempt to save this country. But I don't mean to end in a negative note, because I think the solution is our economic freedom. And I see this economic freedom. I see it in our liberties. I think we should cherish it. I see it in our Constitution, and I think we need to defend it. And I see it in the ballot box, because you can go and vote for Mike Hargadon. Thank you.